Hey, I'm Sven Masterson, one of the co-founders and mentors of the Mentoring Men community. And in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about what to do when you and your partner have a difference of opinion about something that feels like a big decision in your relationship. I've been married to my wife, Zelda, for nearly 29 years. We've been in a relationship for 31 years. And for about 2/3 of our relationship, I really did a poor job of appreciating and deeply considering her perspective. I didn't totally just push past it. I did not ignore her perspective. I think she would even say, if she was here right now, that she felt like I at least heard her perspective. I took the time to kind of, I would say, on a lightweight level, understand her perspective. But I also oftentimes dismissed maybe some of her caution. And I regret this now after 31 years because a lot of her tendency to be different than me would have really been a good counterweight to my own way of being. I find in our relationship, I'm all gas and Zelda is all brake. And so a lot of times we have this kind of natural conflict that comes up when one of us wants to do something, right? If she's feeling all gas, maybe I'm all brake. If I'm feeling like I'm all gas, she's all brake. And this can feel really frustrating in a relationship where you want to do something. And with men who are very achievement-oriented, very doing-oriented, we can really come to resent a partner not being on board with us with something that we want to do. And that's exactly what happened to me. I really got kind of frustrated by her brakes on what felt like needed to be gas for me. And rather than actually learn to patiently slow down and sit with the natural friction that happens in a relationship, I just kind of pushed too fast. I went too fast. And this was actually just part of my own immaturity. It was partly because I didn't trust that if I went slow enough to take into consideration what she was saying or what she wanted, that we'd still end up in the same place. I was ultimately afraid I wouldn't get what I wanted. And so that's really just a form of insecurity that is showing up in a relationship. Now, as a man who's been married a long time, as a man who's learned how to have a flourishing, deeply connected and passionate relationship, I have learned that, my wife, she's not always right, just like I'm not always right. But her perspective and her giving me her perspective is oftentimes really, really helpful. And so now what I used to kind of be dismissive of and saw more as a hindrance to getting what I want, now I see as a force multiplier. I have this whole other perspective, a whole other set of eyes, a whole other brain and heart and intuition that is looking at a possibility and is saying, here's how this hits me. And so I've learned to appreciate that in a marriage, there's me, there's she, and there's we. And so when something is just about me, meaning it's really about me, it's something involving my life, it's not about her, it's not about us or we, then I'm really I have the freedom to lead myself as I wish. And so in those cases, I do what I know is authentically the right thing for me to do, the thing that matches up with my value system. Now, I'll oftentimes still share that with her because I like to receive the reflection of the extra perspective and also just the extra set of heart and eyes that my wife can give me. I reach out to good male friends for the same reason. I have a lot of men in my life I like to run things by because it's a great way to sort of get a little bit of a sanity check for something in my life. Likewise, anything that concerns my wife that's really not about me or about we, she has full liberty to do likewise. She doesn't need my permission. She doesn't ask me if she should do this or that. She just does what she needs to do. And that works for her and it works for me. But when it comes to we've kind of fallen into a groove over 31 years where we have some understanding. And this understanding I want to share to you in the simplest way I can. Okay? And so I have some graphics here to make this as easy as possible. And so if I'm a complete no on something and Zelda is a no, then we collectively are a no. That's pretty intuitive, right? If me am like a go, let's do it, and she is like, yeah, let's do it, well then our conclusion, our shared we is, yeah, let's do it, let's go. If I'm go and she's indifferent, well, then we have an understanding that if one of us is just indifferent and the other is passionate, we're going to go, right? And so that means if I'm indifferent and she's passionate and go, we're going to go. Now, what happens when I'm a passionate go and she's a stop, right? We exercise some caution, and this is the place I did not actually do very well as a man for 2/3 of my relationship. I turned this into a go by badgering the heck out of my wife to try to get her to also say, okay, I'll turn my stop into a go. And this is where it starts to erode trust, and it starts to really kind of hinder a relationship when a man is trying to convince his partner to have a different perspective. This is just straight up foolish. I now know, after decades, that I was actually working against myself. My wife's different perspective would have actually been a gift to me. It might have saved me a lot of heartache. It might have spared me from entanglements that really weren't helpful to me. And yet, because I wanted what I wanted, and in my hubris, I wouldn't actually appreciate her different perspective, I didn't. I tried to change her stop into a go. Now, though, what I have learned, and I believe this is much more fulfilling in the relationship, I have actually way more opportunity, more prosperity, more everything. Because now when Zelda says stop and I'm a go, I just wait. I understand this is not a permanent stop. It's just an indication that from a we perspective, it's not yet time to go, right? It doesn't mean that we're at a full stop either. And I want you to understand that caution, slowing down, stopping for right now is not to have Zelda lead the relationship. And it's also not me dishonoring my wife's perspective. It's an agreement that, okay, for now, just for now, until we are aligned, we're going to caution. We're caution flag. We're going to slow down, and we're just going to kind of carry on our day-to-day business until we're both in one of these other states, right? Now, likewise, if I'm stop and Zelda is a checkered flag, I want to go, same thing. We caution flag, slow down. We're not doing this yet. We're both not aligned. And this approach has really, really, really been helpful, not just for helping us avoid the pitfalls of making wrong decisions, but it's also helped us in a relational sense in that we have really learned to honor the tempo of one another, that, hey, I'm not there yet. And rather than insisting that the other partner join us in our perspective, we've learned to appreciate that other perspective. Hey, this is something I really want to do right now, and Zelda, she's got some friction about this right now. And so I can just learn to relax, to give it some time. And I find more often than not, one of two things happens when I create that space, that opportunity just to slow down. I either find out that I am actually not a go, that I was being hasty, and maybe I find out a new piece of information, and I say, yeah, I'm actually glad I waited, because now that I know a few different things, I'm actually a no also. That's one thing that happens. Another thing that happens is Zelda has some time to think about it in those situations where I am a go and she's a stop. And after a while she says, I've been thinking about this a little bit, and yeah, I'm okay with this. And her stop turns into a go. And then we proceed, right? All these things happen. And so my point in this video is to learn to really exercise these bottom two lines, right? This cautionary part, this slowing down and waiting, is really good to keep you as a couple in harmony and connection, aligned and headed in the same direction. It's a great way to share the we space without hard feelings. It's loving, and that it's not asking the other person to compromise on something that's authentic to them. It honors the integrity of each individual, but it does require patience. And that patience has really been the real gift of this, right? When I have to slow down as a man, I actually avoid mistakes. When my wife has to slow down as a woman, she avoids some mistakes. She avoids peril. And had we known this earlier, I think we'd probably be quite a bit wealthier, because I know there have been times where, at least for me, I was so much gas and I avoided her break that we just got ourselves into trouble. And this one way this happens a lot in relationships is with debt. And so my wife tends to be the most financially conservative in our relationship, and I am the most financially, I wouldn't say irresponsible, but I tend to be so optimistic that I can have gas when I shouldn't. I should be a little bit more brake. I should take that foot off the gas. And Zelda has some brakes, right? But likewise, sometimes because she's very conservative financially, she wants to keep her foot on the brake when I want to give it gas, right? And I've really learned to appreciate that we are not the same. We heard this quote when we were getting our pre-marriage counseling that said, if two of you are alike, one of you is unnecessary. And I've really held on to that. But I've also come to appreciate that our oppositeness, our differences, is actually the basis for something in a relationship called polarity. It actually creates a real service to the relationship. It creates differences. It creates a space to grow and expand as humans. I know I'm a better man because of my differences with my wife, and I know that my wife is a better woman because she's different than me. And I have really learned to enjoy and appreciate these differences, to stop seeing them as something combative or something that is adversarial, and really appreciate this opportunity to go slow. And so to the brother who asked this question about investing in real estate, who said his wife is not on the same page, my caution to you would be my encouragement rather, would be slow down. Just put the brakes on things for a little while. It doesn't have to be a forever stop, but give the space for your partner to either come to a conclusion that's in alignment with your own, or the space for your own conclusions to change. In both cases, you win, right? Because going out and getting the real estate thing that you want, it may sound like the best idea, but it's going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be there the next day. I know deals feel like they're like, once in a lifetime or whatnot, but oftentimes it's that partner's little bit of resistance that is oftentimes keeping us from making perhaps a really big mistake, or keeping them from making a big mistake. Now, if you want to know more about how to have a thriving relationship where you're going in stride with your partner, how to get past the disillusionment stage where you're just kind of hating each other and wishing each other would die in your sleep, and you want to know how do you get to a relationship where you can actually appreciate one another after 29 and 30 years, well, then I would love to talk to you more about that. It was not an easy path for Zelda and I to get there, and I have learned a tremendous amount in my journey, so much so that I quit a 25-year career in information technology, and now I just talk to men around the world about these things every day, all day. And so I would love to talk to you about that, to explain a little bit more about kind of the principles and the learning and transformation that had to take place and that I had to grasp in order to make that transition. And I would love to do that by actually having a call with you. Yeah, a call with you, really. And so to do that, if you scroll down, I want you to look in the video description. You'll see a place where you can set up a call with myself or other mentors in our community, men like me who are in relationships that are thriving, men that know how to slow down and appreciate a partner without actually having that partner lead them, without feeling like they have to give away their power, and without giving away their own sense of agency and leadership. And we talk to men about these things all the time. And it all starts with a phone call, or a Zoom call rather. And you can arrange to have a call like that really in just a matter of about 7 to 8 minutes. And you'll find the link below to do that in the description. I would love to do that. We'll have a call. We'll talk about you, your relationship, what's going on, where do you have friction, where are things difficult between you and your significant other, and what would you like to see change? And again, you can start that conversation with myself or one of the other mentors just by going down into the description, click the link, fill out that form, set up the call, and we'll be talking before you know it. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you are able to make use of this system here that I share with you. It works well for me, and I will see you in another video. Take care.